cost over 2.5 billion naira, including his role as the vicious villain in the highest grossing Nigerian movie of all times, Everybody Loves Jennifer. His versatility has earned him global acclaims, from his AMVCA Best Actor win for the iconic Rattlesnake, The Ahana Story, to being named Best African Actor at the Septimus Award in the Netherlands. Whether on Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Showmax, Stan's performance, like his lead role in the hit Afame Funa, continues to captivate audience worldwide. Beyond the screen, Stan is the convener of the Kids Can Act project, nurturing young talents who have reached stages as prestigious as BAFTA and the NFL Super Bowl. With his social media following of over 4 million and a monthly reach of 10 million, Stan Nze is more than a star. He is a cultural phenomenon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stan Nze.
You have to give us a little bit of dance. Dance like David dance. Okay. Any style, freestyle. Dance like David dance. All right. Are you ready? Woo! Moderator, please. Let's have the bio of our moderator.
Salem King is a foremost Nigerian content creator, a digital educator, and a defining voice in Africa's creative economy. A 2-time Future Awards nominee, Salem has built a massive community of over 500,000, proving that authenticity is the ultimate currency in the digital age. With his degree in economics, Salem brings a rare analytic depth to the creative world. He has trained over 4,000 creators and led high-impact influential campaigns for global giants like Spotify, Google, MTN, and HP. As a co-founder of Creatorium, he is not just creating content, he is building the infrastructure for the next generation of African talent. From creator summits to corporate business forums, Salem speaks with a clear and powerful mission to empower individuals to own their stories and monetize their craft. A visionary and mentor, Salem King is more than an influencer. He is the architect of a bright future he envisions for the African creative economy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Salem King.
Make some noise for Salem King!
Nze is an award-winning. Salem King is a foremost Nigerian content creator.
All right. Please, before you sit, you saw the protocol. All right, the floor is yours. Come on. Okay. Go JC, go! Go JC, go! Thank you.
All right, hello, good afternoon, everybody. How are we feeling? How are we feeling this afternoon? All right. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Hello, really good to meet you. I really just want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you so much, TTA, for this opportunity. Clearly, I'm not Salem King. He sends his kind apologies, and hopefully I will be able to guide the conversation with as much depth and clarity as he would have. My name is Jessimil Damina. I'm a Nigerian filmmaker and co-founder of Neptune 3 Studios. Thank you. Today we have the opportunity to hear from someone who has been such an inspiration, not just through his work on screen, but also through the way he has navigated purpose, faith, marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, Stan Nze.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we'll just go right into it with very little protocol. We are excited to hear and learn from you, and I'm sure that everybody here is eager to hear. So many people know Stan Nze, the actor. Who is Stan Nze behind the screen?
First of all, it's such an honor. It's such an honor, big privilege to be here. Every time when I have the opportunity to speak to people, and most especially young people, I wonder to myself, what do I know? I mean, there's still so much to be learned. There's still so much to unlearn. There's still so much to take in. So I don't take this, for granted. The man behind the screen, or the man that you guys probably don't know, a lot of people do know, but Stan Nze is a wholesome man. I've had my ups and downs, I've had my journeys, I've had moments where I didn't believe in myself, I didn't think it was possible. I've had times where I didn't know that these things that they talk about today could be me. I'm very, very spiritual. I'm God-fearing, and it's not because, it's in vogue to be God, because trust me, it's in vogue to be God-fearing. But I fear God, I love God, I love my family. I love excellence. I love excellence to the best of my ability, to always make sure that anytime you see my name on something, it has a certain quality to it. I'm Igbo. I'm from Anambra State in the South, precisely. I'm very cultural, you can tell. I love my culture so much. I like to promote culture, Africa generally. Yeah, that's who Stan Nze is, in a nutshell.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, and we're so happy to meet you. All right, so the theme of this conference is the Undaunted Life. What does Undaunted mean to you or look like for you?
The Undaunted life for me is the fearless life. It's the life of faith. And of course, we know that faith is not the absence of fear. It's doing it scared, it's doing it not so sure, it's doing it without, but doing it anyways. And I like to talk about the scripture where Jesus was in a boat with his disciples, and they were going to the other side. And the Bible records that there was a great storm. And that great storm is one that required that people would, fear and doubt and just camper around and are we going to die? And he says that Jesus was sleeping in that boat. And he was not only sleeping, if you read that place carefully, he said he had a pillow, he had a cushion. It means there's a sleep of, I just know one sleep. Let me just sleep off. No, there's the one of deliberacy, like I am sleeping. So he had, the peace that they say passeth all understanding was what he has. And I think that that's what it means to be undaunted. There's so much going on, especially when you come from a place like Nigeria. There's always something on the news. There's always something to drain your faith and make you feel it's not possible. And I'm going to say, be careful of social media. Watch it. It can make or mar you. Just the week before I got married, I had to deactivate my account because the news of broken marriages were too much. That same week, it was just so much. And I needed to guard my peace. I needed to guard my sanity. And I said, you know what? The scripture that says, If your right hand will cause you to sin, cut it off. Sometimes that's your social media you need to take off. It's causing you so much anxiety. You're wondering, why am I having panic attacks? Why don't I have rest? Why don't I have peace? Sometimes it's good, but sometimes you have to just, detox and say, you know what? I can't do this right now. And that's what I did for myself. And I deleted that app. And I found my peace internally. Because you cannot give what you don't have. You have to find it internally first before you can give it out. So if we talk about the undaunted life, you cannot really get it from outside. You need to search inward and find confidence on your inside and find courage on your inside so that you can face those projects. No one is saying that maybe things will not crash. Nobody is saying the hard drive will not crash. No one is saying that the pricing will not go up. No one is saying that dollar is not high. We know. But whereas all those things are happening, how do you still function and function effectively? I do not function with the economy of Nigeria. I function with the economy of...
Thank you so much. Amazing. We're inspired. How did you discover your purpose, and what advice would you give young people still trying to find theirs?
Okay, so first of all, acting was not so much in vogue when I started acting. I'm from a family where nobody has acted before. So it didn't look like I'm the first son of my family. It didn't look fancy. It didn't look like I was going to make money from it, but I was passionate. When I act, it's as though that I'm just having fun and I'm paid so much money for it. So that is fulfilling for me. I decided to become an actor. I was in school, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, where I joined a theater group, and every time we ministered, people always just came to me and just said, "Guy, you the actor." It was from a small group, but the impact it had from that small group just helped me see how much I could do on the global scene. And I decided it's something I'm passionate about, and I really want to do it. And that's how I started going for auditions. It didn't come without backlash. It didn't come without doubts, because acting is not a place where you make money every month. You're not sure when your next gig is coming from. You're not sure who is employing you. And of course, when you start, you are starting without pay. You are starting with 10,000. I went to so much auditions there. Yes, I went to almost, not to exaggerate, almost every day I wake up, my life was an audition. So give or take 200 auditions in a year without landing a role. And you had to be persistent. You had to tell yourself, you cannot have purpose outside God. It is God. I don't know what the future holds, but I know the one who holds the future. So if I'm able to hold on to him and discover, in our inner room, what he has made me for, then I have the courage to pursue. And it wasn't just about acting. It was more of impact and ministry than just being in front of the screen and being a fine boy and kissing all the girls in Nollywood. It was more of having a voice, to give people a voice through the characters I play. It was more of making people see Nigeria differently. It was more of having a message every time people see you on screen. It was more of healing marriages. It was more of healing businesses and helping people have integrity and helping people have passion and helping people discover and rediscover themselves. So that was the purpose in the career I chose.
Wonderful. Wonderful. A round of applause, please. From the story you've shared, it sounded like a case of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like your background, your journey has been one that has forced you, maybe even before you could name it, to be undaunted in order to find or pursue your purpose. What would you say as advice to young people out there still trying to find their purpose?
My parents were separated from 13. So I was in the Enugu with my aunt at the time, just going to school in Enugu. And to be honest, I wasn't sure what the next phase would be. I wasn't sure what I was going to become. It was just a step at the time. But you need to find it. You need to find positivity in your future, one way or the other. You need to know that your dreams are valid. You need to know that these dreams are possible. You need to dream. Way before I got my AMVCA, I dreamt about it. I thought about it. I broke it down. It means that if I'm going to win an AMVCA in 2022, by 2020, I should have done a movie. By 2021, I should have done a film that would be eligible enough to be submitted for the AMVCA. I should have honed my craft to this certain level. I should make sure that whenever I'm in the room for an audition, I kill it. I should make sure that my relationship with God is intact, so that I can always receive inspiration for even the smaller roles I play before I get there. Now, for you, it can be anything. It can be business. It can be catering. It can be fashion. It can be decor. How are you constantly working so that in another 3 years from now, the decor you will be doing is for a presidential election? It will be for an inauguration. How are you working right now to make sure that in another 3 years from now, one of your outfits will be best dressed at the AMVCAs? How would you not just be competing with Vicky James, but be at par and be able to have a design that stands side by side any global design? So that's the mentality you want to have, even from the times when it doesn't look like it. All you have is a dream, right? Just like Joseph had. But if you see yourself as prime minister in another 10, 15 years' time, it sort of borders on what it affects what you'll be doing now. Like integrity, there are things you need for that time. Keeping to time, punctuality. How do you want to train yourself right now so that eventually when those great opportunities come, you do not make a mess of it? So purpose is not just about the great grand goal. It's about setting little stones every day and constantly building that eventually when those things come, you don't make a mess of it.
Amazing. I would just like to echo something you said in case somebody missed it. He said, in order to get to where you're going, paraphrasing, you have to dream it. You have to see it. It's like when I was growing up, my mom teaching me how to ride a bicycle would say, look at where you're going and your body will get you there and you won't be able to fall off, right? So you kind of have to see it. You can't get where you're not seeing. Thank you for sharing.
And the fact that you see does not mean you will not face obstacles. In fact, devil not they go where God not they. The fact that you're facing so much challenges right now is the fact that God is in the life. He has you. He is so beautiful that the devil wants to cut it short before you get there. Right now, you don't have money to pay yourself through school fees, but you're going to own a school in the nearest future. The devil does not want you to see it, so he wants to cut it short right now. And guess what? He can if you let him.
Your journey wasn't overnight. How did you stay faithful during seasons when things weren't happening as quickly as you had hoped?
Oh, wow. It was tough. If you look at my CV, if you look at my filmography, or you read my bios, you will see that I started acting in 2009. That's 2009. I don't know how many days. That's over 16 now. But the truth about it is I started the hustle 2006 because I started auditioning from 2006. But I don't want to use 2006. This is just inside gist. Don't use it outside. So it doesn't look like I've stayed so long. When they now start calling veteran, and I say, Stan, no. But it's been a long time coming. I remember those days just going to sets and just begging them to play Waka Pass. See, I'm begging, just have me walk through. I've said I was an actor so much, but I didn't have a CV. I've said that I was an actor so much, but I didn't have what to show. So I thought that if I just be Waka Pass in your film, when I go for my next audition, I'm able to say I was in Women's Shadow or something. They don't need to watch Women's Shadow to know what I did in it. I didn't have those opportunities. And I remember that one day I told someone, he had told me to go for auditions at the National Theatre. And I said I didn't want to go because I didn't want to be rejected. Now, if you're not ready to be rejected, you're not ready for your destiny. If you are waiting for people to validate you before you know what God has put on your inside, you are not ready. All that matters is your goal and what God has deposited, what He has said to you. You take that and you run with it, regardless of what anyone says. It doesn't matter. You will make it. Now, I had gone for so many auditions, and I decided to go for that one when He sent it. I went to the National Theatre, and I got that particular role. However, I couldn't even do it because I wasn't a star at the time. So the way it works in Nollywood is the up-and-coming actors, they call you a day before. You just have to be on standby. You don't have a life. We're on set tomorrow. You show up. They use the stars to fix the dates. And I was schooling at Undaunted at School University at the time. So they had called me a night before, and I couldn't make it. In fact, if I knew what I knew now, I'll enter a night bus. Just get there anyhow. I'm like, maybe I can enter a morning bus. I had doubts, I had fears, and it didn't happen till 2009. My point is, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what the circumstances and what the obstacles are. You just need to keep going. I had a point in, I think 2016 when I was thinking of throwing in the towel because it wasn't happening. The worker passes now became too much. The comedies now became too much, and it now felt like this thing was never happening. So 26 or 29, if you choose that date to that time, is over 5-6 years. And to be honest, I was thinking of dusting it can't be that bad, because I still was on Tinsel at the time, and every episode I added on Tinsel was about 10K. It was barely enough to get going, yes. And I was saying, at all, it can't be that bad. Now, even if you say a GT Bank, does that thing, computer science, 100,000 a month, at least, body and soul together. And my pastor was preaching. I don't think he knew what he was doing, and he said he was thinking about purpose and finding destiny. And he was saying, I was in the choir at the time, and he had looked at the choir and saying, just like Stan and say now Stan now saying he wants to go and start working in a bank. It's just like him. You will stay there and be dogged and do that which God has called you to. And I'm like, oh, if only he knew. And that's why I decided to stay. I didn't know what he held, but that word was very encouraging. And that's why God will use anybody to speak to you. He will use any situation to speak to you, because it can be really, really frustrating. You want to go, you feel that any other way could be a way. And maybe you're a fine girl, you have opportunities, men are toasting you left, right, and center, but you have a destiny call. Something is calling you. There's a pull of destiny here. It's frustrating, it's harder, it's the harder way. It's the way of study, it's the way of training, it's the way of integrity. But most times we don't want to put in the work. We don't want to bend down, study, and get it. We want it to be faster. And I feel like that fast route, that shortcut is what really steals our destinies from us.
Round of applause, please. So let's pivot a little bit and get into relationships.
Okay.
Can you tell us one thing that every young person should know before getting into a relationship?
Relationship? Which one?
A romantic relationship.
Okay, romantic relationship. There are different things we should know. But one thing I think it happened to us a lot of times before I got married. I remember my wife is always like, oh, tell me that you love me. You are my life. You are my love. Yeah. And I always thought it was something else at the time. I said, I'm not your life. Jesus is your life. I'm not your happiness. He said, oh, I'm so happy when I'm not your happiness. Jesus is, if I'm not here, you will still be happy. You need to be able to find happiness for you first, before you can love wholeheartedly. Because the instruction Jesus said was, love people as you love yourself. or as Christ has loved the church. There's a me first. You have to be wholesome first. You have to be enough first before you can bring a man or a woman, because the man is not your El Shaddai. He was not the one that died for you on the cross. Don't be hoping that now that I'm married, okay, I can now balance. There's something you're bringing to the table. I made a post yesterday. I said, I made a new film. Go and watch it if you haven't seen it. It's called, what was the name of this new film? Blue Honeymoon. And it's about a newly married couple. They got married really, really early. And they faced a lot of financial challenges. And at the time they were making up, the lady is like, you know what, I want it to be 50-50. And they were having arguments if it should be 50-50, 80-20, 60-40. What do you guys think it should be in marriage? 100-100, and that's 50-50 me. It's half hearts. It will make one whole. Everything you've got, everything. I mean, people have some people feel is let the Odogu come and bring 100, I'll bring nothing. But in the long run, you have to be whole yourself. That's the point. Find happiness wholesomely, so that when you find that person, you will have enough. Press down, good measure, shaking together, and running over to give.
So many people admire your marriage. At what point did you know your wife was the one, and what gave you that confidence?
Somebody said it's very important. At what point? So, if you've heard our stories, we have a YouTube channel where we share our stories, and I know that prior to the time I decided that she was the one, I was looking for men for her. Don't you like this guy? Because she was my G, like she was my friend. And that's something that people take for granted. That friendship, that companionship, that naked and unashamed place that you can be with someone. I feel like it's very vital. There are a lot of people that are in marriages where they cannot be naked and unashamed before their spouse because they fear they will be judged. They fear that if their spouse knows half the things that they know about themselves, that it will never work. So there's still the issue of trust. You're not just open. And I've heard men say, oh, you know what? You don't have to tell your wife everything. I've heard women say, no, be everything that they tell man. And I remember one of the times that we fought in our marriage, that I was feeling like my wife was keeping some things from me. And she had said to me that, that there are things I don't want to say with you. I want to just discuss it with my girls. I say, I'm your girl. Tell me first. Let me know about it. I'm the first shoulder you should cry on. Now, she's my best friend, because before it used to be I had a best friend and then I have her. Now, she's my best friend. She's my wife. I still have my guys. But I don't know that thing that I cannot discuss with my wife. So once... It was when I realized that because prior to that time, I was still looking outside, okay, this one might work. But I discovered that I had something priceless with her. I had built so much friendship and so much connection with her that I didn't think I would have anywhere else. So every other thing didn't matter. I had a strong foundation, and that's when I decided that, this was the person for me. And it's 5 years in September.
Thank you for sharing. So, how important is it for purpose, faith, and values to align in a relationship?
Purpose, faith, and values in a relationship. I mean, they're all very powerful. Before you get into a relationship, you need to know what's my own purpose to start with, and how would the person I'm bringing in, help out with it. Your faith is very important. Do not be, unequally yoked with someone that doesn't have the same faith with you, because it just helps some of the fights you'll be fighting just because you have the same values, you have the same thought process, you believe in the same thing. I'm not going to church on Sunday and I'm begging you, please, baby, I need you to come and see what the church is like. We just believe the same thing. And the values that you inculcate. One of the biggest things that have caused fights in my marriage is, tell me everything and tell me as it is. Don't sugarcoat it. You know how you believe that when I tell people that I'm in traffic because I'm running late, but I'm not really in traffic, it's not really a lie. You feel like, it's not really a lie now. It's just, it's not what we do. Now, my values is that I don't want you to do that. Now that we're in this union, let A be A, let B be B, let white be white, let black be black. If you are running late, you were indisciplined, so you should be able to own up to your late coming that, I'm still in the house. I've not left. And it used to, like I said, it used to cut a lot of, discord in my marriage because my wife is like, so I cannot gossip with you. Is it that me and you cannot just, I say, any gossip that you cannot say in front of the person, don't gossip it with me. And she just got to learn. It's hard, it's tough, because sometimes you just want to gist about somebody. I'm bad. The day I see the person, it has happened a couple of times. And I cannot just help it. Say, my wife is not so happy with you. Baby, tell him now. Yes. And she just learned. So now we don't really have gossip time anymore because she just understands that it's my values. We draw those boundaries, we draw those lines. Now it's also helped her become a better person because she will not just go around just trying to just chit chat and because my husband is here. Because that's what we do to each other now. We motivate, we help, and that's how it all aligns. So because of these values and faith, we're able to live a purpose-driven life.
Let's move over to money matters. What are some financial lessons you wish you learned much earlier in life?
That you're able to save no matter how much you have. You would think that the concept of saving is when you have everything. When I didn't have a lot, I was able to pay my tithe, 10%. But when I didn't have that a lot, I didn't have the decency to bring out 10% to say, this is my saving. Do you ever go to the church and say, give me my 10% back? Because you know that 10% does not exist anymore. How come we're not able to do that for ourselves? Because we don't respect ourselves enough. So you will eat and chop until you finish onto the next salary. So that saving culture is not something I had before I got married. It was just in and out, when it was enough, when no day, but that's something I have now. So if I had started saving way long before I got married, I know how much, and I would live loud.
On doing life God's way, how do you pursue success, influence, and financial growth without compromising your faith and values?
Fear of God. I fear God. I got to a point in my Christian life when I made a decision and said, I didn't want it to be about what my pastor was preaching from the pulpit anymore. I didn't want it to be just about what I was reading in the Bible. I didn't want it to be about other people's lives. I wanted it to be a personal encounter, a personal revelation, a personal relationship. If these things that you preach through the Bible is true, if these things that they preach every Sunday is true, I want to be a partaker in it. I want to experience it firsthand. The cross of Calvary is not realer than it is today than it was 2,000 years ago. No, it wasn't. What has just changed is our positioning. What is our heart positioning towards the cross? It is still very potent. It is still very active. And that's how I live life, and I live it every day. The fact that this life I have, I didn't give myself. The assignment I'm given to do, I didn't give myself. it is God that has sent me on this journey. So it just sort of influences everything I do, how I relate to people, the sort of stories I tell, how I show up, because I put God first. So I just think it just helps everything. One of my greatest testimonies is the testimony of peace. The fact that it's been 16 years and counting, no paracetamol, no Panadol, no tramadol, no. And it never used to be like that. And this is an offshoot of this prayer that I made and the fact that I wanted a personal encounter. And I remember Pastor always preaching then and saying, you never believe God for headache. You never believe God for stomach ache. It's just that the day when cancer comes, and I start saying, Lord, help me. So it's constantly a training. So I know that the last time I had malaria, I remember my mom saying, hey, hypocrite, no go more. What it means in English is, hypocrite, take drugs. And I stood my ground and I said, I wanted to put this thing to test. Not just by faith, but by taking in the scriptures and inculcating it and praying earnestly, I got healing, and through the grace of God, He has sustained. And you too can start that journey. I'm not a pastor, at least you know, but we all can have that encounter. You are closer to the cross when you choose. The reason that you pray and fast sometimes, it's not that God can come and do new things. Everything He's going to do has been done already on the cross of Calvary. What happens when you fast and pray is the fact that your flesh dies and your spirit is more in tuned to the finished work of Christ on Calvary tree. So it's about you. The woman with the issue of blood said, if I may as much as touch, right? Now, a lot of people were touching Him, but they didn't touch with revelation. This one touched, knowing that whatever, it's her own personal revelation. So it tells me one thing, it's about you. The centurion that said his servant was sick, he said, and Jesus, guess what? Jesus was ready to go, right? He was ready to come. But the man said, no, Asabi authority now. And they tell one person, go, they run. I tell another one, come. They come. How much you will be, Bros J? Talk him from here. And the Bible records that he was shocked. Why was he shocked? He's used to people saying, Bros J, pour spit for grand. Pour for my eye. See how you do this guy on. Do small gra. Lay hands on my head and let me fly into the water. Ask me to go and wash my leg 3 times. Jump into the pool. They were used to do sort of miracle. But this guy said, I know. I understand what authority is. Don't worry, say it from here and he will be healed. And what happened? He said it. And so he tells me one thing. Jesus is not your problem. The economy is not your problem. The situation is not your problem. Onyekwe. Chiekwe.
Thank you. All right, we're rounding things up here. If you could leave everyone with one quick message about living an undaunted life, what would that be?
Catch a vision. Make it plain. Write it down. That they may run that read it. Now, everything has been done. How are you pursuing that thing that is done? How are you taking advantage of these beautiful things that God has created? How are you traveling? How are you exploring? How are you thinking about your life? Thank God you are here. You are in this conference, meaning that you are taking your life seriously. But that vision that you have set down, what would it take to bring it to pass? You have to be able to tell yourself that I will do every and anything that it will take to bring it to pass. Start traveling, start seeing the world. No go die where God, they go ask you, where did you see? Where and where did you see? Nyanya, Mararaba, Kogi, Lokoja. No. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. There's so much to be done. You have to take advantage of it. That your business is global. Start going out and start connecting to people. There are people here. Do not look down on the next person by your side. That person might just be holding the keys to the next stage of that business. Collaborate. One of my first big films in this industry was by a lady, Judith Awodo. And she was just a girl that I went to auditions with. You know, like, and then one day she calls me and says she wants to do a film. My first thought is, Judith want to do a film, we'll go so far. You know? Yeah, but I didn't think she had all the money. I didn't think she was not a big producer at the time. She's one of the biggest now. And she made this film called Just Not Married, which went to the Toronto International Film Festival. And it changed the trajectory of my career. It helped people see me differently. My point in all of this is that person seated by your side. Make sure you take their numbers. You're living here. You never know. In another 3, 4 years, 5 years' time, who they would become. Thank you.
Stan, thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please celebrate Stan Nze.
Thank you very much. We can make it better than that.